What's up, guys? Welcome back to DCA. Today what we're going to do is talk about Ethereum and the road to 10K. So Ethereum's obviously doing great right now, sitting at around $4,100, approaching its prior all-time high in the middle of May when it hit 41.95. So the first things first, this is the DCA index here, and this is a model which will demonstrate to you whether you are approaching a market cycle peak or bottom. So if you aren't familiar with this model, I'll put a link to a video in the description above, which you can watch in order to gain some more information about this model and how to use it. So we made a nice jump today, going from around 58 yesterday up to 60. Okay, so right now with Bitcoin, we're sitting right at 60. Bitcoin is currently sitting at around 66,000. Like we've said, and we've said this multiple times, if Bitcoin is making the move forward, if it's, we held the 20-week moving average, which we've been saying since I started this channel, that's what has to happen. We have to hold this 20-week moving average, which we did all through August and September. And we got this key bounce here in the beginning of October, or maybe the last day of September. We held the 20-week there, and we moved up above this 53,000 level, and that was key. So we've done that, and now Bitcoin's on the move. As Bitcoin is moving, especially when it's making a large move, going from 40,000 up to 66,000 in a short amount of time, everything else in the market is going to lag behind. Okay, all the money is being pulled into Bitcoin, and we've demonstrated in numerous videos when Bitcoin does that, it's not until it has a pullback and people take some of their profits out of Bitcoin that the altcoins will really start moving with relation to Bitcoin. Okay, guys? So that's kind of where we're at right now. So, we just hit this 60 level. So you may consider selling a small portion of your Bitcoin at this level. Now, as we said, you only want to be selling small portions down here in the 60 to 70 levels because you want to be unloading progressively more as we get up higher into the risk levels. Let's go on to Ethereum. So, like we said, we're sitting right at around 4120. The prior all-time high close occurred on the 11th of May, right at 4185. So I did a video on this previously, but I think it's worth demonstrating again. So if you take a look, a few days after the 11th of May, when we made the all-time high, we had this large correction. We came down approximately 61%, down to right around 1700. So we came down 60%. If you go back to the final leg of the bull run in 2017, you can see we came down about 66 or 67%. Okay, so we came down 67% at that time. We then moved up and tested the prior all-time high, because recall at this time this was the all-time high. We tested this prior all-time high, got rejected, came back down, and then were able to get above it on the second try. And that was at 163 days. Okay, so came to a new all-time high. Shortly thereafter, had a large correction, 67%. Went back up, tested it, got rejected. And then on the 163rd day, we got above. And, we made this video, I don't know, not too long ago, but maybe a week or two ago. And, we said, we've come down. We went down 60%, came up and tested the prior all-time high, got rejected, came back around, and guys, look where we're at. We're at 162 days, okay? And we're about to make a run for this prior all-time high. And it's just almost poetic that it's happening precisely as it did in late 2017. I mean, there's a very good chance. We're right around striking distance from it right now, but there's not a bad chance that we move above at exactly 163 days like we did in 2017. And from there, we went up 3x, okay? With that said, let's take a look at the DCA index for Ethereum. Okay, so this is the same thing we just looked at for Bitcoin. The DCA index for Ethereum over time. This is the Ethereum price, and this is the index. So this is the raw output, and it's color coded. The color code has no special dimension. It's literally just the deeper red it is, the more, the higher the level in the index it is. So white will be approaching 0. And so, down here, like this would have been an amazing time to be loading up on as much Ethereum as you could. And then darker red areas will be where you want to start unloading Ethereum. So right now we're sitting at right around 52.88. Now with altcoins, you want to play these slightly differently, because these guys will sometimes go up to, they will fly into the 80 and 90 ranges. So sometimes you might want to be a little more aggressive with the way you're handling the altcoins. I will also say there's less data to go into the altcoin models. Therefore, these cannot be considered as strong of models as the Bitcoin model is. Okay. So, basically you can't necessarily put as much stock into any of the altcoin models as you can the Bitcoin model. With that said, Ethereum, if you are going to put your stock into something, it would be Ethereum, because it does have quite an extensive price history at this time, but still years and years less data than Bitcoin has. Okay. So, like we said, we're at around 52 right now. I will typically not begin selling until you get up into these 70 levels, and I will acquire altcoins anything below 70. That's me though. You have to decide what is the right risk for you. This isn't financial advice, the standard disclaimer. This is just how I am approaching this model and how I approach the cryptocurrency asset class as a whole. Okay. So, with Bitcoin, I'll start selling in the 60 to 70 range, whereas with altcoins, I won't touch them until 70. So, as the Bitcoin risk moves up, I'll slowly be moving my Bitcoin into altcoins, starting with Ethereum. So that's basically where we're at with Ethereum at the moment. Okay, and so now we're looking at the Ethereum to Bitcoin valuation. So we've been saying all along, if Bitcoin is on the move, the altcoins are going to bleed with respect to Bitcoin, and that's what we're seeing. Basically, this is the beginning of September, and Bitcoin has gone on a massive run since this time, and the Ethereum to Bitcoin valuation has bled down from around 0.8 all the way down to where we're at 0.62 right now, but we were as low as 0.06, sorry. And you can tell here there's this level of support that we've been hitting at around 0.058. Okay. Now, we didn't quite get down to that level, but it wouldn't surprise me if in the short term, Ethereum keeps leaking down until we hit this level. Because, as we've said, Ethereum is typically outperformed by Bitcoin, A, in Q4, and B, when Bitcoin is making a large move. Right now, Bitcoin is making a large move, so I wouldn't doubt if we see Ethereum continue down to this level. Now, even if it does, remember, that doesn't mean the Ethereum to USD valuation is dropping. It simply implies that the Ethereum to Bitcoin valuation is dropping. Therefore, your opportunity cost of owning Ethereum versus owning Bitcoin is higher. You have a high opportunity cost of owning Ethereum because you could be owning Bitcoin during this time. Now, a strategy you could use is, as I said before, as Bitcoin moves up in the risk tiers, slowly unloading it and moving into these altcoins, because that will position you in a way such that you're maximizing your profit in Bitcoin. You're attempting to maximize your profit, and then you are attempting to catch the altcoins prior to them making these new highs. Okay. So this is just something, again, to watch for. We're going to see if what happens with Ethereum. I mean, it's made a move up today, but relative to where we've been, it's down. Okay, so we were all the way up here, said approaching 0.08, and now we're down at 0.062. Okay, guys, so with this, we can then start to make some predictions as to where Ethereum might go to. The best way to do this, in my opinion, is to consider where you think Bitcoin will go to, because that will determine ultimately where a lot of these altcoins go to. Okay, guys, so once we've determined where the ETH BTC valuation is and where the prior ETH BTC valuations have been in the past, we can start to make some projections. So we know that currently we're at 0.062. Now, during this market cycle, we went up to around 0.08. The all-time high is at 0.15. Okay. So with that information, let's try and make some projections and think about where Bitcoin might go, and with relation to Bitcoin, where Ethereum might be. So if you imagined that Ethereum stays exactly where it is right now at 0.062, these are the various prices that Ethereum would be at given a Bitcoin price of either 75, 100, or 150,000. So somewhere between 46 and 9,300. Okay. If Ethereum went to its prior all-time high of 0.15 ETH per BTC, that would be somewhere between 1,100 and 2,200, depending on these various prices. Okay, so that would indicate quite a large move from Ethereum without much of a move from Bitcoin for it to get up to, say, $1,100. So I think that's probably less likely. I think Bitcoin would need to go up farther than $75,000 for Ethereum to make a move like this. Okay, for a move from 0.062 up to 0.15. And then more speculative scenarios would include ETH BTC going to new all-time high valuations. Okay, so that would be up to, say, 0.2, and you would see Ethereum at around $15,000, even if BTC were at, $75,000, all the way up to $30,000 with a $150,000 Bitcoin. So I think for some of these, for probably all of these, it's probably unlikely that any of these occur, at least in the short term, if Bitcoin's only at 75,000. Now, what I would imagine could happen would be Bitcoin goes on a large run like it's done in the past, like it did here, and from there Ethereum goes on a run. So, what I suspect is Bitcoin gets to 100,000 or, thereabout or above. And then we start to see these 0.1 and possibly up to 0.15 levels. I don't know if during this market cycle 0.2 is within the cards, but you never know. Ethereum has quite a lot of potential. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities to see some of these more speculative levels. Personally, I believe that Ethereum will end up between 10 to 15K. So, maybe 8 to 15K. I know that's a wide range. I tend to be more conservative. So I'm sort of erring on the side of 10,000, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Ethereum reached up to these 15,000 levels. Okay. Or, thereabout, somewhere between 10 to 15. That would put you somewhere between about where we were at the peak of this market cycle and the all-time high. So that would put you somewhere around here. So, or, you know, put it another way, it would put you somewhere where you were at in the beginning of 2018, down where you weren't quite at the all-time high of mid 2017, but you were, you know, with relation to Bitcoin anyway, all the way up here. And now recall, this is an important point. Recall, the Ethereum USD all-time high occurred at this peak, not this peak. Okay, if we go back, and we go back to 2017, this was the all-time Ethereum to Bitcoin valuation. This was at the time, was the all-time Ethereum to USD valuation. So these are not always correlated to exactly where the USD valuation is. So, you know, just something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind. And it's possible that we could see the same trend occur here where you know, this was the peak Ethereum to Bitcoin valuation, and yet Ethereum goes much higher with relation to USD, but then doesn't get back to this level. Now, I don't think that's likely, but it's just something to keep in mind. It's just something to remember this has happened and know that it can happen again. You never want to say to yourself, this must happen. It will happen this way. You use the data, you take it up with the data, and do what the data tells you. These aren't my opinions. This is just what the data is saying. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at, guys. And I think that's going to be it for this one. So if you guys like this content, hit like and subscribe. And until next time, see you.